Welcome back to Is It Wrong? Do Traffic Up Girls in a Dungeon? Anime Review Episode 50. You're like, wow, an anime review series based upon a light novel to reach episode 50. This is the second one to get this, actually. I think like the second one, because ReZero was about 60 episodes, that one. So, this we're discussing the 60, I think it's like the 66th episode, I think the season it is. It is the, 66th episode season. It was Orario, which, yes, that's the name of the town basically the show was set in. It does adapt from book 17. It finished adapting book chapter 2 of this book, and they go through the first 24 pages of chapter 3 for this book. And okay, if you're really curious about basically page length these chapters, the prologue is 7 pages. This book, chapter 1 is, I think it's 48 pages. Chapter 2 is, well, it's exactly 70 pages. Chapter 3 is, I'd say, almost 50 pages, this one. This one is roughly, I think it's about 47 pages, this one. Chapter 4 is 39 pages. The 5th chapter is actually the longest the whole book. This is roughly 119 pages. Yeah, basically making it the longest chapter of the whole book. The chapter name of this book, it's Alone Against the Side of the Sandbox, and the 3rd chapter, which is the first 24 pages of this chapter, Field of Battle. The episode starts out with Belle talking, basically being examined by a pretty nurse who works the Freya Familia, thinks of him having his memories is a curse, and then we see the quintuplets who think just to get the curse away. Of course they try, of course he rejects it. Of course, he thinks about it really hard. By the way, Hestia is in the episode for a couple brief scenes. One where she's acting with Hermes. The other is definitely in the book. It's pretty accurate. Where she's acting with Ainz, where she has been affected by Freya's charm. And she wonders, what is she doing there at the top of this wall? She does not know why she's here. And she does ask, do you know Belle Cornell? And she's like, of the Freya Familia. Yeah, she's affected by it. And that's pretty much the whole scene there. That's her whole involvement. Yeah, basically Hestia's only in this episode roughly combined time about 4 minutes. It is really, really quick. There's a flashback to about 2 episodes back. Actually, I think it was just the previous episode where basically Hermes gave Hestia a note to give him the right time, but now it's not the time yet. So Belle thinks that this particular healer, he doesn't want to, and then after this, then he proceeds to, well, then we also have a scene here, quite interestingly. There's a scene with Ed in the episode where she does remember about Belle, where Belle's notes are. As for what happened to them, they don't say in the episode. If you're curious, my guess is someone the Freya Familia moved the stuff. Because she reads a logbook of basically Belle from the first season for the show. And then Freya shows up completely out of nowhere, takes the book and says, oh, don't worry, I won't throw this away. You can forget about it. And Edna just cries, and after she affected by the charm, she's wondering why is she crying. This is pretty accurate to the book, shockingly. So I think after the examination, Then he proceeds to, well, go back to his room, and of course then of course he visits Hestia twice in the episode. First time she basically tries to get the whole like update his stats. And of course she looks at stats and like, oh, got a big boost. And he looks at the thing. It's not the Hestia symbol. It's the Freya symbol. Now Freya does mention how she accomplishes, which is basically accurate to the book. She uses basically a potion known as Status Switch, where somebody who is not their deity can in fact use it with this particular thing and can use to check their stats. And Belle was basically shocked about this. And it's like, oh, you have to tell more about it later. And next day we have training, which is literally a death match. Which Belle easily beats all the rest of his familia. And then, of course, the guards show up and, of course, they nearly murder him. Luckily gets healed. And after they have dinner, then, of course, he's summoned to be with Freya, where, of course, talk about his memories, which, of course, they bring up some stuff that happened the first season of the show, which I found that to be interesting. Which, yes, I have a book too. And of course, they mentioned how they first met. Apparently, at the Adventurous Graveyard, which I think that was made up for the actual scene here, because basically they had never, like, the thing is, Belle knew of Freya, but they never actually officially, like, if you watch the anime, they never officially interacted with each other. Of course, they mentioned about what happened with Apollo, and of course, basically, that she changed it where it was not basically a war game, but basically her fighting him, basically over control of Belle. And the Aisha one did happen. It's like she acknowledged the events of that story, but she did alter a little bit of it. Of course, she does mention the fact she limited Ishtar, which sent her back into heaven. And then she asked Belle to remove her dress. Which, like, ooh, can we get change? Move this button. Of course, he moves one button, and then he just flees from her room. Of course, he mentioned she looked fantastic, which definitely she does. And then, by the way, there's also Horn, who's alive, despite the fact that she was seen walking into the dungeon, and yet she's here perfectly fine, and she's not allowed. And how the heck did she get back there? Which is pretty questionable, because if you watch the anime, it's like she just walked into the dungeon, presumably get killed, then she is here, alive and well. Of course, she is told by Freya she cannot interact with Belle at all, she can't see him. And of course, well, later on, she's seen a couple times the episode. First, basically, Freya's in her normal attire that she's normally in, you know, the outfit that barely covers her skin. You know, the one that basically covers, like, shows off her sexy legs or gloves. The thing covers just basically the top of her breast. The outfit that it's this outfit right here. Yes. Yeah. Which of course basically like, oh yeah, this is the one. As for why she wears this outfit, if you're really curious though, why of all things does she chose wear this per se? They don't really say in the books at all why the goddess is dressed the way they do, because the writer himself has never explained it. Well, not in this books anyways. I have heard there's more spin-offs aside from Sword of Orario, because I found this out very recently. There were several spin-offs, including a prequel story where it's about adventures in the past, which was also out for manga, which I have not read yet at all, surprisingly. Will I read it? Yes. So, then, of course, the episode ends with Belle leaving her room, which is interesting. Now, in case you're curious, though, that's on page 148. That's where that scene comes from. The ending of that particular page. So, this episode started out from page 81 and went straight to page 148. Like, if you're curious, how much of the book that is, I would say it is that much. And that's just one episode. Yes. And this is only the second episode to adapt this very book. Now, how many more pages left to be adapted for this book? There is exactly 200 pages left. And my guess is that this will probably be adapted over the course of the next 2 or 3 episodes. It depends upon how long it takes to go through this book, per se. Yeah, it depends. Especially since the season has been greenlit for 15 episodes. This was the 6th episode that aired for the season, so we have roughly about 9 more to go. And then it'll be done, which I did take a look here about this. This show, the season anyways, we finished up roughly about 2 weeks after, as a Reincarnate Aristocrat. I even praise with a rise in the world. That's going to be watching it tomorrow anyways, but yeah. Still have the series per se, and in case you're curious though, is JT Staff going to Gorilla season 5 in the future, season 6? Probably not for a while. There probably would be season 6, but there's not enough material for just they've only released roughly 2 books. The second book's not released here just yet. But do I think personally there'll be a season 6? Yes, given the fact how good the show is. I would not be surprised about that. Yeah, would not be surprised about it. Yep. But not much to say this episode. It was really good. Like it's quite shocking. Like if anybody gets a chance to reread these books, like it is something though that the alterations. There's some minor bits of dialogue edited out here, but nothing really major. Not really. They keep scenes pretty accurate to the actual book itself. Now, one thing at least got praised for this series is that, with the exception of when they did the book 8, they roughly are pretty accurate to the books when they adapted. Yes. Now, in case you're curious, though, how long ago this book came out here? I think it was like about 2 years ago, I think it was. Yep. Roughly 2 years ago. And last year, book 18, and this recently we just released book 19. Book 20 is next. Now, I've not heard anything of when the next book is coming out. Do I think this arc will be 3 books good? Possibly. But season 6 probably won't be greenlit until probably get an announcement for it until we see the completion of the current arc of the series. This actually is the previous arc of the series, not 2 arcs back. The previous arc. That's pretty much how it is here. But yeah, not much to say about this episode. So, that's pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit that dislike button. Well, I have no more time to basically review anime tonight. So, see you tomorrow for roughly Super Sentai. As Reincarnate Aristocrat, Mary Praise Around the World, Fairy Tail, Warrior's Quest, Rama Half, 7 Deadly Sins. And I asked about the case closed thing. I kept checking. It was released today, but it was not on the website. I don't know what's going on with it. It's weird. Yep. But see you next video. Bye.